Nothing quite like Russia than to them to focus all their attention on a matter that really is not that serious, but to them it is, and it actually goes along with their current laws in their country. They're looking to try and uphold some harsh punishment on FIFA, potentially banning FIFA, the game, from their country, which is very interesting. And this is to do with their anti-LGBT laws and outlook that they have in the country. So if we get to this quote, they are not happy with what FIFA was doing to promote these LGBT values and things that were going along with that issue. So the UK-based LGBT rights group Stonewall began the Rainbow Laces campaign last month to combat homophobia, biphobia and transphobia in football, noting that 72% of fans had heard anti-LGBT remarks at games over the past 5 years. Premier League matches and social media platforms have featured materials from the campaign.
And also FIFA 17.
So FIFA 17.
The context of this, I wanted to at least go back to why is the Russian MPs specifically accusing FIFA of, quote, gay propaganda is what they put it as. It's because in FIFA 17, it's apparent and noted that the Rainbow Laces campaign is seen at some points during Premier League matches, whether it be banners on the sideline, where advertisements might be, or the actual cleats.
Or you can actually have rainbow-colored kits.
And kits, too. So what's so remarkable about this and so non-progressive about this is they're labeling it gay propaganda. And propaganda is a serious term that could be taken out of context so quickly, and in this case, I believe it is. Now, our stances on these things are as open as you can possibly be. They want to put campaigns in to raise awareness for social issues in a video game. By all means, go for it. But the rest of the world, there's some parts of the world, don't believe the same as we do. So I find it amazing that, for one, this is going to possibly be upheld by EA Sports Canada for the game in Russia to have that stripped. So they can still sell the game there, but they'll be like, no, well, so FIFA 17's in the wrong, kind of, too, by not taking their stance and saying,
well, we don't want the game in Russia.
Screw your investment. We don't need the game in Russia then. So it's like one of three things can happen. One, the game won't be sold in Russia, which is a major place for the game to be distributed. Russia's enormous. Two, they could not allow. I'm sorry. So I already said they don't have to put the game in Russia. They can strip the Rainbow Laces campaign from the game itself in Russia specifically, which wouldn't prevent the servers from picking it up if you were using a Rainbow kit in Ultimate Team.
The Rainbow Laces campaign for FIFA actually expired on November 29th, I believe. So now I think they're seeking some sort of retribution for the fact that the game had this and people were already exposed to it in Russia.
Here's what's great about it, though. Because of modifications you can always make to video games, players can still use those Rainbow kits if they wanted to. So what I would hope, is just as an FU, would be...
The full Russian national team change the Rainbow kit?
If somebody goes in there and just starts using the full Russian national team in the Rainbow kit.
I mean, to understand
Rainbow laces, Rainbow shorts, Rainbow everything.
To understand what propaganda actually means...
Sponsored by Skittles.
It's to adjust your point of view to skew towards your opinion and prevent others in a way from forming their own opinion. So I think it's kind of ironic that they are accusing them of gay propaganda whilst they're indulging in propaganda themselves by preventing something that may broaden an outlook to stick to solely what their outlook is. So they're playing into this propaganda that they believe.
That's always been the irony of propaganda.
Yeah, it's like they feel like they're getting, the youth, which is what they actually believe, by the way, in their fundamentals, is that children exposed to this will go on to have mental and physical health issues going forward. That's basically the fundamentals if you look at the article that the Russian government believes.
All right, so back to the point of the Rainbow Laces campaign, because I did find this interesting. 1 in 5 18 to 24-year-olds say they'd be embarrassed if their favorite player came out. That was like what the campaign found, 1 in 5. So 20% of football fans that were surveyed by the Rainbow Laces campaign say they'd be embarrassed if they came out. I find that fascinating because I do understand to a certain extent. I'm happy to hear that 80% wouldn't care, which is great. But I find it fascinating still that it's still that high of a number to think that if, growing up, if Ken Griffey Jr., he's a baseball player, but I'll keep it to football. So growing up, if, Lionel Messi or Zidane came out as gay, it wouldn't change my perspective at all because I'm fascinated with what they do on the field, his sexual orientation or her sexual orientation on a match, in a game, in any form of that, would never affect the way I look at that player playing.
Well, it would be great if more people thought that way. I just think that it's the culture of football, especially across seas, it's the most masculine thing. Like, as much as there is other sports, like in America, the NFL. If someone came out from the NFL, I think you'd be lying if you think that they would be accepted, completely accepted into modern day culture.
Michael Sam was.
Yeah, there's very rare cases, and if it was more of a regular occurrence, then maybe we would, in general, we wouldn't look at it as something that the youth and kids would be embarrassed about. But campaigns like this is to try and target that so that it makes it a more comfortable environment for anyone, despite their affiliation, are comfortable playing into this organization, which is the world of football, and being comfortable being who they are, not having to worry about what it does to their image. Like, as you said, it should be about the way they act. If they act professionally, if they are, they hold up the highest regards in terms of the game and they play the game the way it's supposed to be played, then it shouldn't matter what their sexual affiliation is at all. But I'm not a fool, and I understand. I've been to many football games. I understand the derogatory terms that are aimed at players around the park. They're a faggot, they're homosexual. Like, these are the names that are thrown across to players to describe. And I'm not saying
it's very commonplace in any sporting event, especially the word faggot. It's thrown around as much as asshole is.
Yeah, and it's and again, it's not the majority of the time. It's not specifically to insult someone by assuming that they are a homosexual on the field. It's almost second nature. A lot of people will just say it because it's the insult word that comes to their mind. But where I argue back for those people that will defend comments like that and go, oh, we're not going to change it now. Maybe if we were a more welcoming organization, then more gay fans would want to come and watch the sport. Like, I think if you probably look into studies, they would feel uncomfortable going to games because when they hear someone getting insulted of a word that would insult them, it might deter them away from wanting to come back to it. So it goes back to the core issue. The youth is what we are going to do, is the only way we can try and change this perception, because the more we become exposed to these things, the more they become regular in our culture, the less it becomes something that's going to deter from their fundamentals, their skills, anything else. Like you mentioned, the more the youth becomes exposed to it, then the less it becomes something that's different. The more it becomes a normality. Like, as a gay footballer, who cares? Like, he's still
banged 30 goals this year.
He's still doing everything that he should be doing on the park. Like, it shouldn't become this exception. It should become something of a normality. And I have no doubts in thinking that there is many players that play the sport that are still uncomfortable of coming out because the environment doesn't prove to be a comfortable environment for them
I would
to
think
come
a
to.
lot of it is environmental, of course. Sometimes it's easier to, in their cases, it will be easier to not.
And little campaigns like this do a world of good to expose.
It does a world of good, and it's harmless. It's a harmless campaign in a video game, which does expose it to the youth, because last time I checked, 65-year-olds aren't playing FIFA 17 as much as 18-year-olds are.
Very much so.
Safe statement. Regardless, though, change is always going to be inevitable, and it's never going to be easy. So
and this is
people like to take, in general, mass amounts of people like the idea of the comfort that they're in instead of having to worry about continuously making either progress or changes or whatever it might be. It puts them out of their own comfort zone
and
to maybe make somebody else feel more comfortable.
This is just another minor issue which shines the light on
the bigger issue.
On Russia. And how the fact is that we have a competition which is largely viewed as the most inclusive competition in the world of sports. Going
World Cup
to Russia, 2018. And if they're trying to ban a video game that has rainbow-colored cleats, laces, strips, what are they going to do when it comes to the World Cup if there is something that doesn't go along with their propaganda? Just give that a thought.
Good to know. Comment below, like, favorite, subscribe.
Hey, hey!